If I don't put it on the list, well, a lot of you are going to call me out for it. For some residents, the frustration has reached a point where they're seriously considering leaving Kansas City altogether. The only thing that's rising in Kansas City is rent and the homicide rate. People are leaving Kansas City, and some of the reasons might just surprise you. Every time I post on Instagram or YouTube, I notice this trend where people are expressing their frustrations with life in KC. The reasons behind this frustration are varied, from financial pressures to rising housing costs, but these comments are more than just complaints. They're part of a larger conversation about the challenges facing our city. Not too long ago, I posted about how you might need to earn $90,000 a year just to live comfortably in KC, and it blew up with nearly 300 comments. People were debating whether that kind of income should go towards a bigger house or a more modest apartment. And these conversations, coupled with the ongoing concerns about wages and the local economy, help explain why some folks are thinking about leaving Kansas City. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the real reasons why people are making the tough decision to move away from KC and what's driving them to look elsewhere. Now, let me be clear, I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from moving to Kansas City. Quite the opposite, actually. As a realtor, I've helped many of you move here, and I absolutely love it. Shoot, I live in Kansas City myself. However, there's no such thing as a perfect city. For the number one reason, let's talk about traffic, commuting, and road work. This is one of my most viewed reels on Instagram, and it's racked up over 2 million views. The comments are hilarious. A lot of people agree that driving the downtown loop for the first time is incredibly confusing. Even though I drive there regularly, I still find myself second guessing which exit to take. If you spent any time navigating Kansas City streets, you know what I'm talking about, and it can be a real headache. Outside of that, road construction that feels like it will never end, and potholes lurking on almost every side street are also common complaints. These issues aren't just minor annoyances, they're impacting daily lives, turning a simple commute into a test of patience. The ongoing road work, especially the construction for the streetcar Main Street extension, has added another layer of frustration. Detours and road closures have become so common that they're almost expected, forcing drivers to constantly adjust their routes and adding extra time to what should be a straightforward trip. For many residents, this constant disruption has made navigating the city a daily challenge. On the bright side, the streetcar Main extension is making solid progress, with 90% of the track work complete. The project is on track to finish by 2025, and this extension will stretch from Berkeley Riverfront to the University of Missouri, Kansas City, covering 6.5 miles, and it aims to make travel in the city a little more efficient. Once completed, it's expected to alleviate some of the pressure on the road by offering a reliable alternative to getting around. However, even with these improvements on the horizon, the reality of living with constant road work, traffic congestion, and the ever-present potholes is wearing people down. While some areas may see smoother roads and less stressful commutes in the future, the current situation is pushing many to their limits. For some residents, the frustration has reached a point where they're seriously considering leaving Kansas City altogether. I know personally, I hit a pothole the other day that made my teeth rattle, and I was almost certain that I was going to have a flat tire. The constant battle with traffic and road conditions is a significant factor in these decisions. People are looking for places where they can enjoy a smoother commute, fewer roadblocks, and less time spent sitting in traffic. As Kansas City continues to work on these infrastructure projects, it's clear that for some, the road to better living conditions might lead them out of the city entirely. Now let's talk about the next reason why people are leaving Kansas City: the politics. I recently had an opportunity to sit down with Mayor Quinton Lucas for an interview, and the reactions were mixed, to say the least. While I'm not here to dive into the political fray myself, it's clear that many residents have strong opinions about the city's political direction. Some of you did not hold back in the comments for that interview. For example, one person said, "Get rid of Lucas, he has helped ruin KC Mo," while another added, "The only thing that's rising in Kansas City is rent and the homicide rate." On the flip side, there were supportive comments like, "I love Mayor Lucas," and there were also concerns about the overlooked issues such as homelessness and public safety, with one commenter asking, you should have asked him what he's going to do for our homeless Kansas City citizens. These reactions highlight how divisive politics can be in Kansas City. For some, the city's liberal leanings and political climate don't align with their values, prompting them to consider moving to the suburbs or more rural areas where the political atmosphere is different. Whether it's a desire for a more conservative environment or simply a place that feels less politically charged, the city's political landscape is becoming a key factor in why some residents are choosing to leave. Next up, let's talk about what's going on with Kansas City's property taxes. Now, surely people aren't upset about taxes, right?
Well, we're waiting.
Of course they are. According to taxrate.org, the average property tax in Missouri is $1,265 per year for a home valued at $140,000, which works out to about 0.91% of the home's value. But things are different in Jackson County. For example, in Jackson County, the average tax rate is 1.28. So if your home is assessed at $500,000, you're looking at about a $6,400 annual property tax bill. Now, that's quite a bit higher than the state's average and shows just how unique the tax situation in Jackson County is. Now, even more recently, Jackson County has run into some major issues with property assessments, causing some tax bills to more than double. It's been a huge headache for homeowners, but the Missouri Tax Commission just stepped in and put a 15% cap on property tax increases for 2023. But here's the catch. It doesn't mean you'll get a refund if you overpaid. And those extra taxes, they've already been used for local services like schools and the police, so there might be some tough budget decisions ahead. The county is trying to sort all of this out, but it's going to take some time. If you've been hit with a big tax hike, it could end up getting rolled into your mortgage, which means higher monthly payment. And if you're renting, you might feel the pinch too. Landlords could pass those higher costs on to tenants. It's a frustrating situation, and while the county is working on solutions, it's clear that many people are feeling the strain. With property taxes on the rise, finding and keeping affordable housing in Kansas City is becoming more and more challenging. These issues are making people rethink whether they want to stay in the area, adding to a trend of folks considering a move. It's a tough spot to be in, and it really highlights the growing concern over the cost of living here in Kansas City. Speaking of affordability, the rising cost of living is driving a significant migration from Kansas City to other states or even rural areas. And it's not just the property taxes, although those have certainly played a role. The rental market is also experiencing sharp increases, making it increasingly difficult for residents to find affordable housing within the city limits. To put things in perspective, recent data from rent.com revealed that Missouri has seen the fastest rent increases in the country over the past year. Statewide, rent prices jumped over 13%, bringing the median cost to just over $1,200. Kansas City itself didn't fare much better, with rents increasing from 7% to a median price of $1,644, marking the 7th largest rent hike among large cities in the U.S. I recently heard from someone who relocated to Kansas City from another Midwestern city, and they were shocked by how much the rental prices have surged here. What they found was that there isn't just a minor uptick. Rentals have become a significant financial strain for many people. The rising property taxes and escalating rental rates are creating real challenges for housing affordability. And with the raising rents, that's drawing more investors into the market that are buying up single-family homes and creating more competition between regular home buyers and forcing more people to stay locked into the rental market and driving up rental prices even further. So with more and more people being priced out of Kansas City and forced to look elsewhere, it's creating a situation where they're just people that have to leave. Another major reason for some families leaving Kansas City is the schools. Many of the school buildings in Kansas City Public School District are outdated, with issues ranging from deferred maintenance to aging facilities that just don't meet modern standards. While the city will vote on a $474 million bond in April of 2025 to address some of these concerns, it's been over 60 years since a bond like this has been been passed. And even if it does pass, it won't cover all the repairs and improvements that are needed. For families, especially those with kids in the public school system, this lack of investment is concerning. When you compare Kansas City's schools to those in nearby suburbs, which have newer facilities and more resources, it's easy to see why some parents are choosing to relocate. They want to access better educational environments, and many feel that staying in the city isn't the best option for their children's future. While the bond could help turn things around, the reality is that for some families, waiting for improvements just isn't an option. In the end, schools are a critical factor in why some people are choosing to leave Kansas City for the suburbs or even out of state. And the second to last reason why people are leaving Kansas City that a lot of you in the comments might say needs to be number one is the crime. Now, I considered not even putting crime on the list, but if I don't put it on the list, well, a lot of you are gonna call me out for it. Now, recently, one of my Instagram followers mentioned that crime here feels like it's getting out of control. And to be honest, I kind of agree with him. This happens every summer. Every day I see headlines about shootings, businesses with smashed windows, and cars being stolen. The stats back it up. Kansas City has a crime rate of 5.9 out of 10 according to US News. But here's the thing, I live in Kansas City, specifically in the Waldo area, and most of the crime that I hear about comes from the news or social media. Is there crime? Sure. It's a city. I hear sirens and I see the occasional neighborhood post about something happening, but personally, I take precautions like not leaving my car doors unlocked, and I'm usually in bed by 9:30. While crime is a real issue, it's not something that's always right in your face. Now, Kansas City's police department is a bit unique. It's actually under state control, a system that goes back to the Civil War era to fight local corruption. While this was originally meant to reduce political influence, it's created its own set of challenges. There's been ongoing debate about whether local control would do a better job of addressing the city's crime issues. At the end of the day, there's still a lot to love about living in the city. If you're considering a move to Kansas City proper but are concerned about the crime, I have two suggestions for you. Number one is hire a real estate agent like me who knows the local areas and can help you find the right neighborhood. Second is check out sites like neighborhoodscout.com, where you can dive into detailed crime data and other important info down to the neighborhood level. Going back to that Instagram message, my follower mentioned how crime used to feel more targeted, but now it seems like everyday people are becoming the victims. Crime is definitely a concern, but there are ways to navigate it, especially if you know where to look and what steps to take. Which leads me to the number one reason some people are leaving Kansas City: the suburbs. While Kansas City itself has a lot to offer, many are drawn to the quieter lifestyle of surrounding suburban neighborhoods. The KC metro area extends outward into a range of suburbs, offering real estate options that suit different needs. Unlike cities like Las Vegas, where you're surrounded by the desert, Kansas City is surrounded by a diverse mix of neighborhoods that appeal to a variety of preferences. In the suburbs, you'll find less traffic, less crime, and more space. Areas like Overland Park and Leawood are known for their upscale living and excellent school districts, while Shawnee and Olathe offer more affordable options with a little less congestion. It's easy to see why many families and individuals might opt for the suburban life. But here's the flip side. While the suburbs have their appeal, Kansas City itself has been steadily growing since the 1980s. The population continues to rise, and about half of you are choosing to move into the city and away from it. Kansas City offers a vibrant urban lifestyle with plenty of attractions, restaurants, and events, so it's not about the suburbs. Whether you're drawn to the quiet of the suburbs, it has options for everyone. Now, if you're considering locating, check out my map tour video of the KC Metro to explore all the fantastic opportunities across both the city and the suburbs, and we'll see you on the next video.